Hey everyone, welcome into the Hoops Frenzy podcast. I'm Dean Holzwarth, along with my good friend Andy McDonald. We're here to talk some hoops. We got a very short time left in the season. We have a week and a half for boys, and we have 2.5 weeks for girls. It continues to get better and better every week, Andy, with some of these games.
You seriously can't make it up. It's just like,
No.
and it's like, again, we don't want to sound like the OK Red podcast, but that's just where some of the best talent's at in our state, really, in general. And it's just every week there's more games to talk about. We got a couple more to talk about in this one that I was at this past week. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Tri-Unity still doing their thing.
So Tri-Unity 16-1, by the way.
For sure. We'll be making sure to follow them too. But, it's been really, really fun to cover, man. Every night it's like there's just easy games for us to pick because they've all been good. Yeah. And as much as it sucks for some of the kids right now to have to make up some of these games because of the snow days in such a short amount of time, it's pretty awesome. It kind of feels more like a college feel or something, just because they're all this team played this team last night. They're already playing somebody like that 2 nights later. Like what the heck? So it's been fun to follow.
We've talked about that. Lots of games. I can tell you for my JV team, we played 4 games in the last 5 days.
Wow.
So we played Friday, Saturday, day off Sunday, and we played Monday, Tuesday.
Dang.
So it's been a lot of basketball lately in a very short amount of time. But a lot of schools right now are dealing with that because of what we had with the weather and the snow days and the ice days and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, we're not going to start with the OK Red. We're going to start with Northview. You were at the 2K Classic at Grand Rapids Community College over the weekend. Northview ended East Lansing 40-game win streak behind 41 points from Cam Ryans in that game. That 2K, what was it, 2K26 showcase?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of very good talent in that tournament, and you were there for a couple of those games.
Yeah, no, I was. The East Kentwood game against Lima, that was
number 1 team from Ohio, by the way.
Yeah, Lima is, they've always been good. I always think of them because of Xavier Simpson. I remember he went to school there.
I always think about them because of beans.
Yeah, that's,
like Lima beans. Okay, go ahead.
It never fails. Anyway, we're not talking about Lima beans. We're talking about basketball, so let me get back on track here. It was a great game. East Kentwood did pull away at the end. I think they've had so many battles, I feel like, within this conference we've been talking about that have definitely helped them towards the end of that game to pull away. Yep. But there was probably 144 left, and when you've got the game kind of wrapped up and the team's up by 16, you're like, I'm just going to get the camera off so I can get to the next thing, right? I'm thinking to myself that it's over. And it's funny, this guy started talking to me and was like, he's like, East Kentwood pretty good. I was like, you watch, I turned it off. I'm going to have to turn it back on because this game's going to get close. And I'm not kidding. It was less than 2 minutes. I think it was around 140 left in the game. Lima came all the way back to within 2. Wow. It made it a game. And then East Kentwood had to make a couple of free throws on the last possession to win it. But it got to be that close again. And that place was going crazy. It was a great atmosphere. I've been talking about how at a lot of these tournaments I wanted to see a bigger crowd. Yeah. A lot of these night games the last couple of weekends have gotten huge crowds. And it was an awesome environment to be in to see that game. And another great win for East Kentwood. They keep pulling them out, and they're a really fun team to watch. They can beat you with anybody that they have on the floor, and they have about 8 or 9 guys that can do it to you. So, yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. I didn't get to stay for as much in the Northview game because it got pushed back because of a couple games going to overtime earlier in the day. Yeah. From what I saw from Northview, by the time I had to get out of there to make it back for stuff for deadline and whatnot, Cam Ryans was definitely going off and doing his thing, and I'm happy to hear that he was the player that led that because he's the kind of talent that can take over a game and win it on his own. Yeah. And it's cool to see him get it done because Northview's had a lot of heartbreakers over the last 3 years, even in the regular season sometimes. They have these games that you think that they're going to win, and then it gets to be a close game. I've seen him lose a lot more than I feel like I've seen him win when it comes to close games. So it's good to see him play that well against a team that's won that many games in a row. I mean, East Lansing, everybody knows it's a good basketball program. It's a lot of fun to watch them play. So credit to Northview, man.
Just a huge win for them. I think their confidence is rising. I think they lost Rockford a close game, so their non-conference schedule has been absolutely, insane as far as I think that's going to help them for the postseason coming up. And I think Cam Ryans is a guy that can lead them, to a deep run in the postseason.
He's bad. I remember last year covering their playoff loss, and it was really, really close. And he was devastated at the end of the game because I think he missed a free throw or a shot or something towards the end of that game. He was just devastated about it. I mean, he's been on varsity since he was young. He's battle tested for it, and I would not pick against Northview in the postseason. That's for sure.
And speaking about East Kentwood real quick, they are leading the OK Red right now. They only have 1 loss, and that was the buzzer beater against Rockford. Sure. Very talented OK Red right now that East Kent was leading, and they obviously are in prime position to win the OK Red for the first time in a few years. It's been Rock for the last few years. But no, Mike Thomas has been doing a great job in his second year over there. Last year they had a little up and down. It seems like he's got everything going in the right direction.
Some would argue over in West Ottawa that East Kentwood should be even more shirt up right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Win it because of what happened in that game the other day.
Yeah, we're, Monday night we had a rare, definitely not a rare Monday night nowadays, but a Monday night game between West Ottawa and Rockford. And you know, we talked about West Ottawa. They beat Granville the second time around. They've been super competitive with everybody. And you were there, kind of talk about the end of that game. Rockford's up 3. West Ottawa comes back to tie it. What happens at the end?
Yeah, no, it was Jonah Watson was the player who comes down and hits the 3 to tie it. But it was a back and forth game. When I got there, Rockford was kind of in control of that game, and it felt like every chance that West Ottawa had towards the end of the game, they're just making shots, like pushing. They were just pushing Rockford to the end. And this is the 3 here from Jonah Watson towards the end of the game, which tied the game. Rockford pushes the ball and gets it down in the corner here to take a 3, and Dylan Gross takes that shot, and they blew a foul on that at the whistle. So we'll come back and be able to see it again here in a second. But he took free throws to kind of ice the game away, and it's one of those calls like we don't want to hand the refs too much on this show or anything like that. Honestly, I think it takes a lot to blow the whistle in that situation, because a lot of people wouldn't, even if they do think it's a foul, just because like it's always the mantra, just let them play in that situation.
Don't let the refs decide the game.
Yeah, if you had to ask me like my pick on it, I would probably tell you that I do think that he did get fouled in this play.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those situations where it did feel like it came after the shot, so like right there you can kind of see it. It feels like the ball was already in the air, but he definitely did knock him down to the ground. I mean, he as a player, you need to know in this situation, you can't just like jump out.
You just got to get a hand up and
just
contest,
a hand up,
right?
exactly.
One of the biggest rules that I tell my players is don't ever foul a jump shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Just get a hand up. You got to kind of close out. You can't obviously go deep when you close out. You got to have kind of star steps and get that hand up in their face, kind of high five it, and you can't foul in that situation.
I mean, that's what's great about high school sports is you get the chance to learn, right? And I'm sure I'm not sure who it was that fouled him there on that play, but he's just trying to make a play. He's trying to put his hand in his face.
Yep.
Obviously, it is after the whistle, but I'm sure at that point in the game, Rockford was in the bonus anyway, so he probably would have had 2 free throws, and I'm sure Rockford would have won the game anyway. But it always sucks to see it on that way because it's always anticlimactic, and you don't want to see it end with a free throw. But it was another crazy ending, and we've had a few of these. Like, I'm trying to give our refs a lot of credit in this area because
oh my gosh,
so many of these games have come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and that's not. I mean, like when you're at this level, you don't necessarily expect that a lot. I feel like I in the years past covering so many of these games, there's way more blowouts than what I'm used to this year. So. It's definitely been a hard season for them to have to official in some of these games the end, and for the most part I think they've done a great job. So
the quality of play this season is more than I've seen in a while as far as the competitiveness in every conference, and you have some up and coming teams that have been playing well. I think Catholic Central, if I'm not mistaken, has won 11 games in a row. And we talked about Chris Pro a little bit, and then
last time I covered them,
and the job that they're doing right now. I think they're 13-4 right now, and I think they're on an 11-game winning streak after a rough start.
No, and I wouldn't expect anything less out of them, honestly. It's Catholic Central, just like you can see, you don't know what goes on in that locker room, right? But you know that when they're not winning, it's pretty easy to change the culture because they expect it. Like that's just, it's already built in. It's what Meerman built in there before he left, and Chris Pearl did such a good job keeping on last year. There was no doubt in my mind that with the amount of talent they had in that team, they're going to end up being better as the season went along. So they're back in the position I think we expect them to be in. That's for sure. One
guy I want to mention from the OK Red is Javon Daniels, the point guard from Hudsonville. He had a really, really good 4-game stretch. They were 15-3 before losing to East Kentwood the other night. But he had games of 20 against Rockford, 15 against Grand Haven, 30 against Granville, and 29 against West Ottawa.
Yeah, no, he's if you've never seen Javon Daniels play basketball, that is someone who worked on their game. I mean, since the second they touched a basketball, like he's only gotten better. And when he was on varsity, I don't know if it was sophomore or freshman, what year he was when he was moved up, but I rember seeing him play, and he was a good passer and a good and whatever.
He was smaller when he was. He's been there since he was a freshman. He was really small.
And like the size is still a thing with him, but like he doesn't let it bug him.
He's a scorer.
He's found a way to make it work with it. The way he gets to the hoop and he makes people miss. I mean, you hear a lot of oohs and ahs in the gym when Javon Daniels is dribbling the basketball. So he finds a way to get it over defenders in ways that I didn't even think was possible. So again, we mentioned Xavier Simpson. That's like for Lima. That's kind of what he reminds me of, because he finds a way to he doesn't take the same kind of hook shots or things like that, but he's crafty in his own right. He finds ways to get to the hoop. hoop.
He finds ways to score in
And he's
different
good at
ways.
passing, man. I mean, he zips some balls in there. And they have some guys like down low that can easily finish when they, are like right next to the hoop like that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch him play. And I've gotten the chance to do it a few times. They've had some tough losses, but Hudsonville's gonna be a tough out when it comes to playoffs too.
They are that Division I of all the teams in the area. You're going to have your West Ottawa, you're going to have your Granville, you're going to have your Hudsonville, you're going to have your East Kentwood. They're all going to be meeting each other at some point.
That's the crazy thing about West Ottawa. Like they have so much talent, and they're like 8-9, 9-10. I forget what the record is.
They have a lot of close losses.
That team, if you were to ask me, like just watching in general with how fast they play and how athletic they are, I'd have been like, there's no way they have that many losses. So never count them out either. Who knows what they can do in the postseason? It could be something special. So
another one of the top teams in the state is Muskegon. They only have one loss right now. Very athletic team. If you go to a Muskegon game, you're going to see some dunks. You're going to see some made three-pointers. They have a great freshman point guard in that team. But that's a collective group too that keeps getting better and better. Keith Guy always does a great job with that program.
No, he's a phenomenal coach, and this has been start to finish. Like we've known. I mean, you could have watched them playing game one, and you knew this team was going to be one of the best teams in the state this year. There's really no question about it in my mind. So it's impressive. Keith always has talent in there, but this team seems like one that can maybe get there and do something special this year. So we'll see what they're able to do. But the momentum they have rolling right now, I think the most challenging thing you would have as a coach is to kind of keep that going and don't trip up because you get too excited about being this good. So I think Keith is the kind of guy that you want in place to do that. So.
Yep, definitely. A couple quick notes on the girls' side. Rockford obviously right now is leading the OK Red, 13-1 record. South Christian remains undefeated, 17-0 right now.
They've been impressive, man. I mean, I still go back to that win over West Catholic a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they've been phenomenal. Had a hard time losing. I got the chance to watch Rockford the other night. They're hitting all strides right now after a little bit of a slowish start. They're still one of the best teams in the state. And I have no doubt in my mind that they'll be competing for it again and probably getting down at least to the Breslin Center to compete in some of those games. So the game I covered the other night, 16-0 run to start against West Ottawa. So
who did?
Rockford, yeah. It's just like they'll hit you quick if they're hitting their shots. Right. And if they do that, they can beat anybody in the state. That's for sure. So
yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting that the Grand Haven Rockford potential matchup in the postseason will be good. I just looking forward to the postseason. I don't want to get ahead of myself a little bit, but like obviously the best time of the year I feel is the postseason and the tournament, and I think we're gonna have lots of great matchups.
Yeah, we got some great guys and girls teams here that can make a run.
They can.
I think we're still we still have a couple more weeks left of the girls, so we'll see like how they're able to close out some of their conferences here and see what happens there. But yeah, with the boys, we're starting to get to the point now where I feel like we know like what teams are going to do it. It's just a lot of teams might have to meet each other in the playoffs, even from this area, and it'll be some epic battles to see who gets to move on.
Yeah, some very good teams are not going to be part of the quarters, semis, whatever the case may be.
Exactly, man. It's just one of those years where it's like so many good teams that somebody has to lose.
Yep, 100%.
So,
yeah. Well, this past next week and a half, we're expecting probably more buzzer beaters and close games. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks.